Hey everybody, Drew Lentz, the Wireless Nerd here, and I want to talk about CES 2020. I just got back from an incredible week out there in Las Vegas. Me and some of the guys from Wi-Fi Stand got a chance to go out there, got to do some great work talking to people about IoT and about 5G and about Wi-Fi and about the future of communications and what's going on. So I want to throw a quick recap specifically for the wireless industry, kind of on what I saw and what I thought was going on out there. Basically, at the start of it, Wi-Fi is everywhere, right? It's embedded in devices. It's in everything from coffee makers to baby formula makers to body sensors and sleep pillows and everything you can possibly imagine. There's basically a Wi-Fi chipset or a Bluetooth chipset in everything that I think I saw out at CES, including all the vehicles that were there. What was interesting to me was that I saw a big advertisement from Samsung saying that smart is 5G and Wi-Fi is old and dead and whatnot. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Obviously Samsung's trying to make a play to push their 5G mobile devices. But at the same time, I don't necessarily agree that Wi-Fi is dead or that 5G will take over Wi-Fi. I think that that's kind of a stretch. However, I don't necessarily disagree that it's not going to play a huge impact. I think it will. I didn't see a lot of 5G connected devices this year, like embedded devices. Obviously 5G is not ratified, so on and so forth. But what I think I'm going to see next year is 5G embedded devices, everything from TVs and set-top boxes and a lot of the things that maybe have Wi-Fi connectivity today. People are going to start to look at how to embed 5G into those. Smart TVs with 5G versus smart TVs with Wi-Fi. I think that that's kind of where it's going to go. And that'll be interesting to see, probably dual chipsets, right? Not just one or the other, but both. Because I think that that's going to be really cool, especially when you think about it from the perspective of the carriers or from the perspective of the mobile operators. If they're operating their own 5G network and they're trying to figure out how to get you to boost your data plans on Verizon or AT&T or whatever it is, having a TV that's connected so that you can stream your Netflix and everything right out of the gate, I think makes more business sense for them. Excuse me. So hopefully, we'll see where that goes. From a consumer perspective, I think it's fascinating. I think, the ability that I can have as a consumer to take a product out of the box, plug it in and have it automatically connect to cell services where I don't have to sync it up to my Wi-Fi at home and I can already stream everything right out of the gate. I think that that's a great end user experience. Now, from a Wi-Fi perspective, I don't know that that's the best experience. I don't know that that's enough for me to, as a wireless, engineer to say, hey, that's really what I want. I think that there's a lot more to it. I think I'll have better throughput, better connectivity, so on and so forth, by working with a localized Wi-Fi access point versus talking to a 5G base station somewhere outside of the house. But I'm a nerd and I think about stuff like that. And at CES, you didn't have a lot of people thinking about that. You have people thinking about ease of use and how quickly they can get something online. And so I think from that perspective, next year, probably some more embeddables from the 5G perspective. Again, chip prices have to be moderately lower, I think, than where they are right now. So we'll see. The other big trend that we saw there is CES is basically a car show. Especially this year, Sony unveiled a new electric vehicle that was out there. We saw cars from Rivian, from Fisker. Tesla was not there, but there was a Tesla car in a booth. We saw Byton coming in from China. We saw the Audi E-Series. We saw Hyundai doing some incredible things with electric mobility, not just on the vehicle side, but on the people and transportation side. You're talking about these vehicles that you can just walk into that automatically sync up with your phone, pull the information from your SIM card, make your vehicle, make that vehicle your vehicle, all through wireless connectivity. And then from a control and operations perspective, it's all wireless. So you've got all the stuff that's happening at 5.9 gigahertz in the DSRC band. I don't know how that's going to interact with Wi-Fi 6E, the new extended stuff that's coming out in 6 gig. I know transportation had a big problem with that, so we'll see where that goes. I don't know if Wi-Fi is the best mechanism for vehicles communicating with each other as they're driving 60 miles per hour down the road, but we'll see. I think that there's a lot of hurdles to get through when it comes to the autonomous vehicle side of connectivity, especially from what we saw at CES. But I think at CES, the big focus was on kind of the city of the future. Everything from scooters and bikes and hoverboards that are all connected to each other via wireless communications and all electrically operated. It was fascinating to see that city of the future play out. So you could see how you could literally walk out of your door, your Wi-Fi connected door. There's this one from LG that was insanely cool, that they had kind of a door of the future. So you could walk out of your Wi-Fi connected door, you step out, your NFC triggers the door to close and lock behind you. You get on your electric scooter, you take it down to the helipad from Bell Helicopter, so it can lift you from your local parking point all the way over to to your business building. And then if you're trying to transport yourself around the city, there's EVs that are cruising up and down the road. And I think that it was really neat to see all of that come together and the way that wireless plays into it. Everything from using wireless and Wi-Fi or 70 gigahertz from the radar perspective, using Wi-Fi to identify people that are walking up and down the street, using Wi-Fi to have the vehicles connected, you personally being connected to those devices via Wi-Fi or those transports via Wi-Fi. It was pretty neat. And there was even a company down on the first floor of the Venetian, which is the Innovation Park area that we saw there, and they had a RF visualizer. I got to try on a Magic Leap for the first time, which is really cool because I've been excited about seeing those. So Magic Leap, slid that thing over my head. A company called Bad VR is visualizing RF. It's something that we talked about with Ekahau. It's something that we've been talking about with EDX. It's something that iBwave showed a demonstration of at WLPC last year when Kelly slipped on the Oculus Go and showed, kind of what augmented reality and virtual reality could do for Wi-Fi planning. There's a startup that's doing it as well. So the pressure is now on the incumbents, NetAlly and Ekahau and iBwave to harness that technology, because now it's being kind of democratized. It's something that is people are seeing a use for in other locations. So I encourage them to do that. The one thing that nobody was talking about out there was security, which was fascinating to me, because now you have hundreds of thousands of devices that are deployed and no one's talking about how to secure them. Not a big presence out there from the traditional IT community. Dell had a really cool display. Lenovo had a really cool display, but there weren't a lot of people talking about IoT security. There were a few. There was one company out there that was showing off a device that sits in between your router and your firewall. And what it does is it allows you to basically proxy, I guess is the right way to say it, a VPN connection, a secure VPN connection for all of your IoT devices. So I'll do a review of that product a little bit later on. But there's some serious concerns there that I have about all these connected devices, and no one's really talking about it. And that's probably because CES isn't the right place to talk about that. This is showing off the toys, the way that they work together, how everything is going to be the city of the future. But it's not necessarily the right forum for that, I guess. So, I think it's incumbent upon us to figure out how to change that. We have to take those conversations back to our Wi-Fi manufacturers, back to our security manufacturers, and figure out how we're going to secure this, because that will be up to us to figure that out, whether it's on Wi-Fi or 5G or CBRS or any variant of a wireless network. A lot of stuff is coming down the pipe. It was fascinating for me to go back to CES after it's been about 9 years since I've been there, 8 years since I've been there, and to see how it's transformed into this whole, I don't want to use the word ecosystem, but this whole, atmosphere of communications passed off as, electronic vehicles and passed off as devices. All of those need wireless to communicate. There were no wires there. There were no wires connecting anything except for power. And even at that, there were some amazing wireless power companies that were showing off how they can use a laser beam to dial into a device. And once it connects, you've got a 30-foot range where you can deliver 5 volts effectively. And they were showing off wireless power. So now you have devices that don't need connectivity at all. No wires, from power to communications. And to me, that's fascinating. I got this really weird headache. I'm just kidding. It didn't happen. But it was really fascinating to see wireless power and wireless communications and how they're going to play into everything. So that's my wrap up of CES. I've talked too much. I do appreciate your time listening to this, but just know that from a wireless perspective, right now there's so many things that are happening. The push for Wi-Fi is still really strong, but 5G really is making a presence there. And everyone, I think there's a lot of buzz about wireless communications, especially with 5G, and I think that makes it fun. I don't think Wi-Fi is dead. I don't think 5G is taking over the world, but I do expect to see a lot more 5G embedded devices coming into CES 2021. So this year, be on the lookout for that, design for that, so on and so forth. Anyway, that's my breakdown. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for listening.